News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM 93.3, Chris Crock Show. And we have some very, very interesting happenings with the border. It is on. Lots going on with this today because the governor of our great state of Texas, Governor Abbott, is not backing down. You may have heard at the top of the hour news here from Mickey Briggs from the 24/7 WBAP newsroom that indeed President Biden, his administration has sent a letter demanding that we allow entry to Border Patrol into the Eagle Pass Park. We literally have cordoned off. Well, it's the park itself is about 3.5 miles, is my understanding, but we have put up razor ribbon over 25 miles along the border there. Eagle Pass is a city of 25,000 people, yet it got in the week of Christmas. You may have been tuned out because that week we all were celebrating Christmas, right? But during that week, 22,000 illegals crossed the river into Shelby Park, where this has now been cordoned off. And that's 22,000 in 1 week, the week before Christmas, I should say. And that is a population, the city size of, Eagle Pass, their population is 28,000. So you literally have almost the entire city's population coming through there in 1 week. It's absolutely disgusting. And to see these sanctuary city Democrat mayors in Chicago, New York, Denver say, this is horrible and how dare you, we can't handle this. Dude, one little town on our border is being invaded almost by its population in a week. It's insanity. So we are going to stand firm. Governor Abbott says, I am not moving. His response is unequivocal. What he said was, quote, and this is from Newsweek tonight, he says he's declared his state's right to self-defense using the supreme law of the land. And I'll give you more details on this in a second. He also released a statement, the governor did, criticizing Biden for violating his oath to faithfully execute immigration laws enacted by Congress, and saying that the Biden's failure to protect each state against invasion, as stated in the Constitution, gives him the authority. And he says that Joe Biden not defending our border and enforcing the law and the Constitution has triggered Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3. And he says, which reserves, quote, the state, his state, our state, the right of self-defense. He says, for these reasons, I invoke, and I've already declared an invasion, to invoke Texas constitutional authority to defend and protect itself. That authority is the supreme law of the land and supersedes any federal statutes to the contrary. Amen. So we are going to have a war on the border, if you will. Now, the war may be nonviolent. I'm not saying it's, but we're going to have a war here. We're having a war between the Trump administration and the Biden administration. And, the Abbott administration, the state of Texas, and the president, who is full-scale wanting this invasion and loves it. This is what he wants. And I want us to continue to stand firm, and we are. We are doubling up and tripling up our process of putting that wire up and fencing up, and we're doubling down and we're tripling down. And I couldn't be happier. And if you follow me on Twitter, at Chris Crock Show, that's at Chris Crock Show, CHRISKROK. And you can be watching me live right now on Facebook as well, at Chris Crock Show, that's at Chris Crock Show, CHRISKROK. As we're live right now, but if you follow me on Facebook and on Twitter, you won't miss any of this. But on Twitter, I have a whole bunch of videos that came out today. And I'm working on getting one of the border correspondents down shortly on the show, who was there Allie Bradley's, we follow each other. She's going to be joining me on the air sometime in the next couple of days or so. We're working it out. But she's there, and a lot of video coming from her, a lot of video coming from Fox News, and it's all sorts of stuff. Just so you know, the decision on the razor ribbon has not been finalized. The Supreme Court just stepped in because they were asked for an injunction, to pause this and to allow the Border Patrol to free the illegals, let them just flood us and fill us like they were before we close it off at the park. And so the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals is going to be hearing this en banc. En banc means all 17 justices, federal judges in the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, which is conservative and friendly out of New Orleans. They are going to be hearing us, and that is where Governor Abbott has asked for a full hearing en banc. That's coming soon. That could still go down, and we could still get our win on that, and then it'll go to the Supreme Court. And when it goes to the Supreme Court, because this was just a quick slapdown, it was not a permanent one, they could decide, and just because they did this right now for a temporary doesn't mean they're going to do the same thing for the full decision, which the Biden administration wants this invasion. It's willful and it's wanton, and therefore they're going to keep appealing this. So the question remains, are the Border Patrol agents going to actually go in there and start cutting stuff? And what should we do? What do you want our state and guardsmen, state troopers and our guardsmen and our law enforcement to do? Governor Abbott clearly saying, flipping on the bird, we are not changing a supremacy clause, invasion clause, we're done. And I agree. Also, Congressman Roger Williams, U.S. Rep. Roger Williams from Fort Worth, said today that he's introduced a bill. Actually, had a press conference on Tuesday afternoon from the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office with three sheriffs. The Sheriff of Tarrant County, Bill Wayburn, who I've interviewed on this show, great guy. Also, he held a press conference with the sheriffs of Parker, Wise, and Collin County. So two out of four of the major metropolitan counties in DFW stepped forward. Two others from the North Texas region here also. So that was good. And so he said this is causing a lot of crime and a lot of fentanyl and a lot of death and a lot of heartbreak. He said 90% of small businesses have been affected by break-ins and thefts, physical challenges by illegals, and it's affecting the small business community. Amen. Here's my questions for you today. Do you want us to keep defying the Supreme Court and the Biden administration? Do you want the great state of Texas to continue defying the Supreme Court and the Biden administration tonight? Do you want former President Trump? Here's a big thing what he needs to do right now. One of my buddies wrote this today on his blog, and I couldn't agree more. He said Trump needs to go down there right now. He's our nominee. We don't know it, whether you like him or not. He needs to go down to that border right now and do his campaign from the border. And he needs to keep going down and doing his campaign from the border because this issue has eclipsed the economy. The economy in New Hampshire is second place to the New Hampshire voters, all of them, whether they be independent or not. And it's 10 points higher. Illegal immigration. Immigration is higher by 10 points over the economy. It's the number one issue by far. Same thing in Iowa. And most likely the same thing for the country. So my first question, do you want us to keep defying the Supreme Court and the Biden administration? Also asking, do you want former President Trump to go down to that border and do some heavy campaigning there to show Biden's border invasion? I swear to you, he should set up. Of course, he'll do it con permiso, with permission of the governor. He should set up and go to these intense border places. He should set up a operation where he's going to do a campaign event, and he should set them up at whatever the 2 or 3 most populous invasion places are, so that that they can't shut it down like they did for the delegation that went down to the congressional delegation. That was a hoax. That was a joke. That wasn't serious. And remember what they did? They siphoned off the illegals. They stopped them. They called Mexico. The Biden administration called Mexican government and said, please stop the illegal invasion here, please. So it's all rigged. So Trump should set up like 2 or 3 locations on the border, and he should have his campaign ready to go, and he should do one here, one there, and just, every other day, just fly down and do a press conference from the border, one of the 3 points, and work with our governor. And that way, you can literally see the invasion. And Joe Biden will have to siphon off the 2 or 3 most major places where these illegals are flooding us. That's what I think Trump should do. And finally, do you think the federal government should reimburse us? Because Roger Williams filed a bill saying at his press conference yesterday, he is filing a bill that said, I want to be reimbursed. The state should be reimbursed by the federal government for not enforcing our border. And I totally agree. What say you? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I've got a lot more on this as well. I'm going to give you some more statistics about the illegals committing crimes, supposedly. Also, did you hear audio? The big one I want to get for you right out of the box next is, did you hear this audio? Yesterday I told you about this. A city council member in a nicer suburb of Chicago, where my family used to live, he proposed housing the illegals, sign-ups for people to house them in your own house. You're going to hear him say it in his own words. It's brilliant and it's beautiful. All that's next. We got 3 lines open for you at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Jason and Mineral Wells, you'll be right out of the box coming up next on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.
We do have a very affluent community, a lot of big homes, and what I'd like to do is direct staff to create a sign-up sheet. So, for individuals that would be willing to house migrant families. And if there's people that would do that, God bless them. I think we need to find out who would be willing to house migrant families.
I think so, too. Let's have you sign up for that. You want to do that? Don't you love that? That guy is awesome, and he's not he's half joking and half serious, but he's one of us, and that's why he said that. My folks used to live in that community, and it's not wealthy. He was exaggerating. There's some really nice places there. Trust me on that. I'd say half the place is really nice. The other half place is solidly nice, like, middle class to upper middle class. Anyway, it's just funny. It's hysterical. Now, this is News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. We got 3 lines open for you at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you want us to keep defying the Supreme Court and Biden administration, which is what Governor Abbott said today, which what I support? Do you want former President Trump to go down to that border and do some heavy campaigning there to show Biden's border invasion right now? He should go down there. You know what? Governor Abbott endorsed him. Trump should go right to Eagle Pass at that park because he will have carte blanche. He should go there and he should do events every freaking day under this war with the Biden administration and show them cutting it and go, look at this. Look at this. That's what he should do. That's what he should do. All right, let's go to Jason in Mineral Wells. You've called in at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Hello, Jason. You're on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.
Yes. Now, I just want to touch on a couple of things here regarding the border. I've been holding my tongue for a long time as far as radio goes. First-time caller.
Hold on a second. We have a little something. Your first-time caller. Hold on. True. There you go.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
I think so. That's a little thing we give to first-time callers. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, my God.
You okay?
Chris, can you hear me? Yeah, I'm great. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You're the one that's coming in distorted, but as long as you can hear me, that's all that matters.
I can totally hear you. Go ahead, sir.
All right, sounds great. So, Texas National Guard, since 2009, did one tour in Iraq.
Thank you.
Tour in Egypt. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Good deal. So, as far as the border crisis goes and all that, everyone's talking about the crisis down there, illegals coming across, this, that, and the other. But you know what I don't hear on the radio is how it's affecting Texas National Guardsmen's lives as far as retention issues and all that. I mean, I have plenty of people that are trying to get out right now because we've been overwhelmed with the border mission, continuously called up to go down there. And it seems like everything we do to help out, it just gets destroyed and turned down or turned around more or less from the government. from Biden.
That is amazing. I don't know if you can hear me okay, but that is amazing what you're telling me
right now.
Tell me some of the things that that you're hearing. So you've been called down there yourself?
Oh, absolutely. I was there. I got called up in October 2021. I was there for a year. Actually lost my job in the mix of it all. I came home and was laid off, more or less.
Do you know they can't do that legally?
No, they could because they worded it right. Trust me.
Okay, you got it. All right, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
So, yeah.
What's it like to be there? Tell me what a typical day is and how it's so difficult for you.
It's not that it's difficult. It's just that you're away from your family, you're away from your job. We all have our lives here. We do our 1 week in a month or 2 weeks a year, yada, yada, yada. But what we enlisted for, what I enlisted for is more or less, like I said, I went to Iraq, with the National Guard.
Thank you.
That's, combat missions, more or less. Not this border crap and the pandemic. We went down there. I was working at a food bank for 3 months trying to get out of that. It's just crazy.
Do you support what Biden, what Governor Abbott's doing by using the Guard, even though you don't like it?
I hate it. I do support it. I do understand it's necessary, and I love how I.
Can you hear me? We lost you. All right. We lost you. Can you hear me?
Sanctuary cities. Can you? I can.
No, I got you. Go ahead. Finish your call.
All right. The sanctuary cities and all that. I love what he does there, and he just kind of gives them a taste of their own medicine, more or less. But when I was in Iraq, my interpreter, he was actually an interpreter for Special Forces ODA since the invasion all the way up to 2014. The guy was kidnapped twice. He came over here legally. He is now a U.S. citizen. And let me tell you, this guy here, he's amazing. But he came over the right way. And there's always going to be a right way. And what's going on down there is wrong, Chris.
Okay, we got to go, but I want to ask you something. Are you going back yet? Do you know your next time you're going?
They call me up on New Year's. They call me up on Christmas Day. You never know.
Listen,
they're always calling us up.
I want to tell you something. We are grateful for you. We love you, and we're going to pray for you. And every one of you guys, you mean everything to me. I have a dear member of my immediate family. Actually, every man in the family served in the Guard except for me. And I'm the one with the job with the microphone. And people like the two of you have thanked me. I'm like, don't thank me for anything. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for doing everything you've done for us. You mean a lot to me. And my dad was the battalion commander for a battalion up in Chicagoland. And he was a colonel when he retired, lieutenant colonel. And I was very proud of him. And we're very proud of you, brother.
All right. And I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Chris.
Thank you. My favorite picture that I'll ever have of my dad in my life is when he was, for his 2 weeks active, and we got to be on the civilian side camping at Fort McCoy in Sparta, Wisconsin. My dad's picture means everything to me. God bless you, my friend, okay?
Hey,
thank
you, sir.
All right. We have one line open right now. Marie, Trish, and David from Grapevine, Wiley, and Temple. You guys are next. I promise, right out of the box. Stand by. We have one line open at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you want us to keep defying the Supreme Court and the Biden administration as we're doing? Do you want former President Trump to go down to the border and do some campaigning there to show Biden's border invasion? And do you think the federal government should reimburse us, as a bill's been filed by our local congressman in Fort Worth, for border security measures we've taken? I'll tell you all about that coming up next. We got one line open at 800-288-WBAP. And next, I want to tell you something else we're going to get into. I have some audio of Joe Biden talking about the border and about how it's not secure. You may have heard that. I'm going to play it for you again. You're going to hear that coming up next on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.
Do y'all think that the border is secure, sir?
No, it's not. I haven't believed it for the last 10 years. And I've said it for the last 10 years.
Do you believe your
Give me the money. Now, the question is for the Speaker and the House Republicans. Are they ready to act as well? They have to choose whether they want to solve a problem or keep weaponizing the issue to score political points against the president. I'm ready to solve the problem. I really am. Massive changes. And I mean it sincerely.
News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. Chris Crock Show. So here's the deal. Joe and his surrogates today, I heard on Fox News at the Martha McCallum show this afternoon. What's his name? Spokesperson John Kirby, Admiral John Kirby, talking. We're trying. We just, we need more money. We're asking for 1,300 Border Patrol agents. To do what? To process them, to stamp paper and to process them through and to wipe their rumps for their babies. Absolutely not. This is a disaster. And apparently these sellouts that want to literally sell away our country, like Nikki Haley types, like John Cornyn, apparently the agreement is not going so well, where they're going to, it's all about getting Ukraine, and that's all this crap is. Because Ukraine, if they don't get money in like 2-3 months, they're broke. They're out. I read a Wall Street Journal article yesterday. They are literally going to run out of money in 2-3 months. Good. We're done. So, but this is all about Joe Biden getting Ukraine aid and getting some Israel aid. He and then like pretending, and he lies. Mark McCallum said righteously today, "What do you mean? What do you mean? He wants to fix it? You've had 3 years." They don't want to fix nothing, and we know it. They're liars, and I told you since day one, they're using this invasion. They had this all planned out. We're going to have an invasion, let in millions and millions of future Democrat voters, and then finally we're going to say we're going to use them as a cudgel, as a sledgehammer to hold over your head and threaten you, because look they're in the country now. We let them in, pretending like we weren't wanting it. And guess what now? You want to stop this invasion we've been doing for 3 years? Then you got to give them amnesty. You got to give us amnesty. Here it is. And now the plan was allow invasion for 3 years and then act like they're trying to fix the problem like it's Republicans' fault for the last election year. And that's why we cannot and should not do any deal. Nail them. And it just disgusts me and enrages me when I see Joe Biden lying. And then when I see John Cornyn saying, we're not going to get a deal. Oh, this is such a great deal. Oh, we got this. I'm telling you, we're not going to have a deal like this before. Tom Langford, who came up with this deal out of Oklahoma, it's ruby red. He wouldn't. I heard this today. He wouldn't, not from Cornyn, but somebody else. He wouldn't let this happen if it was no. Absolutely BS. Here's my questions. Governor Abbott pledging. This came out about 4 hours ago from Newsweek, that Governor Abbott is saying he's declared state right to self-defense using the supreme law of the land. Quoted the Constitution, failure to protect each state against invasion has triggered Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3, which reserves the state right to self-defense and invoke Texas constitutional authority to defend and protect itself. The authority is the supreme law of the land and supersedes any federal statutes in the country. So therefore, he's refusing, and now the Biden administration sent a letter demanding we let them come into that park, which is 3.5 miles of the border. We're doubling down, tripling down with wire and border fence. You can see it on my Twitter feed, at Chris Croc Show. Do you want us to keep defying the Supreme Court and the Biden administration? Do you want former President Trump to go down to the border and do some heavy campaigning there where all the hot spots are, so they can't just block off that part for a couple days like they did before, and show Biden's border invasion? And do you think the federal government should reimburse Texas for our border security measures we've taken? Which is what U.S. Rep. Roger Williams filed in a bill yesterday at a press conference. He said he's going to file that bill. We got two lines open, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Marie and Grapevine, you're on News Talk 820 WBAP. And now on FM at 93.3. Hi.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So on all three of those questions, I say definitely yes. But I also wanted to say, and I'm so thankful for Governor Abbott for everything that he's doing.
Me too.
But I also wanted to say, and I heard this from Mark Levin, that what Biden is doing is an impeachable offense.
Sorry, that was me. Go ahead.
I said that what Biden is doing, which is ignoring the Constitution, is an impeachable offense in itself. And we don't even have to go down the road of getting all the bank records and everything that they're working on, which is fine. I mean, they can do it however they want. But just what he's doing on the border, or not doing on the border, is really what's going on, is an impeachable offense. Because the federal government has the responsibility to protect American citizens, and we are not being protected. And that's what I wanted to say.
I agree, and I think you're right. And, whether it would work, I don't know, but we should do that. And when you do that, you expose everything. You have all the evidence. You show the numbers, and you have public hearings, and you do it. I agree.
And you just have to read the Constitution. I mean, it would be simpler than all the stuff they're trying to gather. But like I said, I mean, I don't care which way that they impeach Biden and say anything about him, because he's the worst person. I don't even have the words.
I couldn't agree with you more, Marie, that he's the worst. This is a choice is what this is. Now, as far as impeachment, I think you're right, but you agree with me the governor should stand firm, and so, I mean, what do you think is going to go down? What I think we should do is not obviously get in a physical confrontation with, like a physical episode where we're struggling with Border Patrol people, but we just stand firm and keep putting razor ribbon upon razor ribbon, and just stand there and not move. So they have to go around us or something like that. You're resisting without being violent. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes. I mean, I definitely think that we should stand our ground with what's going on right now, and the what do you call them? The whatever court that said.
Yeah, just let stand firm and not move, right?
Well, yeah, for sure. And if whatever it comes to, I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be, but we cannot live like this.
I agree, and I appreciate you very much, Marie. Great call. Look forward to your next one, Marie. Let's go to Trish in Wiley. You're on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.
Hi, Chris, and thank you for having me.
Welcome. Thank you for calling.
I just want to let you know that I am a flight attendant for a commercial airline here locally.
Awesome. Love you guys.
I see a lot of the unaccompanied minors come through.
Wow.
Yeah, they're supposed to be 15 or less, but a lot of them are 17. They look like they're about 25, mostly men. What I see is they are.
Say that again. How many have you seen on these planes? What would you guess? The numbers of people that are
out of McAllen, Brownsville, El Paso. About half my flights are unaccompanied minors.
Wow! Shut up. Half of your flights are unaccompanied minors.
Or they're flights with passengers that are from crossing the border, and they actually have backpacks or color-coded wristbands.
Yes, that's from the narco-terrorists, the cartels that smuggled them in there, and they're going to work it off with sex and drugs and extortion, all sorts of stuff.
And I had a passenger, and it gave me a red flag. They were getting transported by the Southwest Keys program. If you look that up, it kind of gave me a red flag, so I looked them up. It's actually a from our government, federal government program for Latinos that coming to the United States to sponsor them, to send them to families. Now, these poor kids, I mean, if they are kids, they look like deer in headlights. They don't speak a word of English, and they're transported. And I try to talk to them. If you get someone to speak Spanish on the flight, one of the flight attendants is great. We had a flight attendant that spoke Spanish. We had a child. She must have been about 15, 16 years old. She was sent to one of these sponsor families, and she was trying. They were trying to put her in prostitution.
Oh my gosh! And she told you that through one of your coworkers that speaks Spanish?
Yes. And she said, "I'd rather go back to Venezuela than do this."
Oh my gosh! She must have been sexually assaulted a lot, honestly.
Oh yes, it's human trafficking. That's what they're doing, human trafficking, and we're taught to do this, to look for this.
And whoa! And we're paying for this young victim, this rape, sex trafficking, because sex trafficking. I heard Mark Levin say this on his weekend show on Fox, and he said sex trafficking is slavery. It's sex slavery. It is slavery. So you saw a 15-year-old Venezuelan slave. Is that what you saw?
Yes. What they did, there's all these kids, they're coming through, and then, I understand that a lot of the people from Mexico, they're coming up. Most of these people are coming up from Central America. They're coming from Guatemala, Anywhere, Venezuela. And I understand why they're coming from Venezuela.
Were you able to report to the federal authorities that this woman was in the middle?
They don't care.
Do you have? But do you have a? You said you've been trained to spot this. Do you have a hotline you can call that when they train you?
We have a hotline, but I'm told by the other flight attendants we have a little link that we have between us. If you do it anonymously. Do not do it with your own name.
Are you able to do that?
Yes, you can do
Praise God that you did that. Oh, that poor precious girl. Where was she flying to? Here?
I can't remember. I'm out of Dallas, so I can't remember where I was. I mean, I take these people all over the country. It's amazing. I had one, sometimes they'll have like ankle bracelets on.
So you're telling me that basically half of every flight coming up from Brownsville or McAllen has half of everybody on those planes are illegals?
Yes, and El Paso too.
In El Paso, so 3 cities flying up to our area, half of the planes out of those 3, half of those planes, period, are filled with illegals that Joe Biden's flying up that we're paying for that are being sex trafficked or just military-age men. And last question before I let you go. What's the percentage of those people you're seeing on these flights that are military-age men that are not family people and such?
Oh, a lot of them. Well, they're either illegal immigrants coming in, and you can tell.
Military-age men. Are half of them military-age men, or what?
Yes,
what's the?
Well, I would say about half of them are military-age men. But I would say I'm not sure. I don't know if it's the Mexican people or the.
It's all good.
Guatemala.
I want to say I appreciate you so much, Trish, and please stay in touch with us. I want to keep hearing from you. I appreciate you so much. Okay.
Okay, don't forget, look up Southwest Keys program.
Got it right here. I'll tweet it out for folks that want to check it out. Thank you, Trish. I appreciate you so much. We got 2 lines open, 800-288-WBAP. Coming up next, we're going to hear from David in Temple and Shane in Fort Worth on this illegal invasion. I'll give you more details of a bill that was that U.S. Rep. Roger Williams from Fort Worth is going to push forth to make the federal government pay for this invasion that Texas is doing, taken care of. Next on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on 93.3 FM. News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset on the Chris Crock Show. Roger Williams, congressman from the Fort Worth area, Tarrant County, says that he's proposing a bill. He's introduced a bill that will require the federal government to reimburse us in the state of Texas for expenses to secure our border. He says there's an invasion going on at the border. As I speak right now, this was yesterday afternoon at Tarrant County Sheriff's Office for Bill Wayburn. He was flanked by not only Bill Wayburn, but also Parker Wise and Collin County's sheriffs. And he says he said there's areas in America where 90% of small businesses have been affected by break-ins, thefts, physical challenges by illegals, and it's affecting the small business community. He said that he got that from his testimony that he heard as the chair of the House Small Business Committee. Let's go to the phones here asking you about, do you want us to keep defying the Supreme Court and the Biden administration? Because he wrote a letter today demanding Governor Abbott open up the park there in Eagle Pass. And Governor Abbott is defiant. He says, invasion clause, I'm not moving. And I'm grateful for that. How about you? Do you agree with that? You like that? And do you want former President Trump to go down to the border and do some heavy campaigning there, as I'm proposing, but not just to go there once, but to go to all the 2 or 3 hotspots on our Texas border and set up there with the governor and the state police, DPS / guard, working with our state so that we can be at all 3 hotspots so they can't. Joe Biden will have to block off all 3 hotspots with Mexico, which is what he did before when the congressman went down there. And do you think the federal government should reimburse us for our border security measures, as Congressman Williams wants to do? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Let's go to David in Temple. You're on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Hello.
Hi, this is David. Listen, I want to thank you, Chris. This is a wonderfully set up program tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I've done border watches down at McAllen and Mission. We stopped in 2011 because they had too many high-powered rifles across the way, and I really don't want Trump going down there getting in range of those assassins that would love to take him out. But more importantly, right now, the lady spoke before me about the stewardess, talked about the kids coming up in the airliners. This is it's not right for Abbott or anybody else to be moving these people internally in the country. They should be sent back home. But I guess the amnesty provisions requires them to keep them in the country for a while. But I certainly don't approve of moving them all over the country.
Totally agree with you. It's horrifying what she saw. You know, one of our listeners tweeted at me that I should have also stayed in touch, said, let's stay in touch with the guardsmen. I want to say that to our Texas National Guard member. Please call in off the air. We'd like to stay in touch with you and exchange emails. And if you're okay with the phone number off the air so that we could, with my producer, if you can call back at 800-288-WBAP, want to pop you off the air, want to get your info and swap it with you, I'll email you directly so we can stay in touch. Let's go to Shane in Fort Worth. You're on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.
Hey, Chris. Something I really wish that Trump would say more about with this, and I absolutely love the fact that Abbott is doing this and getting it in the national conversation. But people need to realize that this is part of the globalist agenda. And, I mean, this is what you get when you vote for a president that is for open borders. And do you remember how he and Kamala just never would go to the border?
Yeah, yes.
What was it, the first 90 days of the presidency, they would just act like this was a non-issue?
Yes, I do. By the way, we got 15 seconds. Go.
Okay. All I was going to say is this is just feeding into the culture of debt because they need immigration to boost the fact that we have falling birth rates in America.
We had more illegals come in under Joe Biden in these 3 years than our birth rate.
Yeah. And this just feeds into the culture of death there.
Great point. You're right, Shane. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Got to roll, brother, but thank you very much. Look forward to your next call. We got several lines open at 800-288-WBAP. Also coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, former pop star sharing her abortion regret. This is not compelling. It's pretty amazing. I was like, whoa. I was riveted. I want to share that with you. We're going to talk about that coming up next on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.